Hi everyone, my name's Lily and I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my June and July thoughts, I guess, and what you can be expecting to see in the future on this channel. So let me just start off with my June and July thoughts and my favorite reads and stuff. In June, I read 30 books, and in July, I read 12. June, half of the month was preparing to go places, preparing for events, so a lot of books were read. I also had panels that I was wrapping up. I took a little bit of a break for panels in July and August, so June was still a heavy prep session. I had some books that I really liked, but it was really hard to break through. I feel like when you're reading a lot of books and you know that you have to be reading them, it's really much harder for me to kind of sink into a book and enjoy it. I tend to be reading more books at a time than I normally want to be. I just, the stress and the emotional kind of upsetness make it really hard to love reading, I guess. So I don't have a ton of favorites from June, but one of them has to be The 7-Year Slip. It just has a fun, unique concept by Ashley Poston. I've loved Ashley's books in the past. 7-Year Slip is no exception. It has the concept of like an apartment, which when you come into it at certain times, has a 7-year blip basically into the past. And so it has this fun, timey-wimey goodness where you're not really sure how the past is altering the present. And in the past, you're meeting certain people who were there in the present and certain things have happened. But for them, it's the past. But for you, it's the future. That kind of fun stuff. If you like that, you definitely should read The 7-Year Flip. 7-Year Slip. I just really loved that one. And it was one that I just ended up reading super fast because I was that obsessed with it. The next one is You Can Trust Me, which I'm pretty sure I listened to this. I think I listened to this in audio. It's by Wendy Hurd. Wendy has written a lot of YA, a lot of thrillers, both of those different things. That's kind of what I was associating Wendy Hurd with because of the Dead End Girls. But actually, You Can Trust Me, I think, is an adult thriller, and it's told in the point of friendship and sort of found family, found sisterhood, which is the real core of You Can Trust Me, which I love. There's also a little bit of a time plane where you have one perspective or one character who's kind of in the past, and you have this other character who's trying to figure out where this person is, what happened to them, who's in the present. So I really loved that one as well. But I think what I loved about You Can Trust Me, not only the thriller and kind of what ends up happening at the end, but this core of friendship that really ties these two main characters or these two characters together. The next one is Will They or Won't They by Ava Wilder. I just really enjoyed this. I think that, as you can tell with the other books, I really was gravitating a lot towards romance and thrillers. These kinds of genres just are very active. They're high emotion, high sort of the emotions are just so intense in all of these things. And I think that's why in the summer, a lot of my favorites are going to be kind of that kind of vibe, because it's just so easy to fall into that character's intense emotions. And so Will They or Won't They was also like that. I really liked Ava Wilder's other one as well, which I cannot remember, but Will They or Won't They, the ending cinched it for me. That's kind of all I can say, obviously, without spoiling it, but the ending was the thing where I was like, yep, loved it. So cute. The next one is Business or Pleasure by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which I definitely have a copy of and I cannot find at this moment. I'm a really big fan of Rachel Lynn Solomon, and Business or Pleasure was super cute. It was a lot about kind of looking at each people's expectations. I also really liked how candidly intimate it was to talk about intimacy and chemistry and attraction and all of these different things in a way that I feel like you're not really taught in school, a way that you're not really taught in your family, how to approach these kinds of issues with your partner. I really loved that kind of fresh take on it, which I really don't see in a lot of romance books. In a lot of romance books, everyone's super suave, everyone's super with it, they're all really talented, they're all just like naturally amazing. And I felt like in Business or Pleasure, it has a more realistic approach to kind of those different things about sex and intimacy, which I think is really a conversation that should be had more. And so that's definitely why I loved Business or Pleasure. The last adult pick that I loved was Thief, Liar, Lady. This is kind of like a retelling of Cinderella, but almost as what happens after the ending of Cinderella. But so much of it is informed by what happened beforehand, the actual Cinderella retelling aspect, that it kind of is Cinderella retelling, re-inspiration, whatever you want to call it, but also kind of goes further and looks at what happened. I just loved how inventive and unique it felt while also being a retelling, and how D.L. Soria really brings in these aspects that you're not really expecting. It also looks at kind of, these are what you see, this is what you think you see, but what actually is behind it. I think if you really love thoughtful retellings that will kind of make you think about characters and character motivations from the original and also from the retelling, that you definitely should check out Thief, Liar, Lady. And the final pick for June was Bonesmith. I really loved Bonesmith. I've been a really big fan of Nikki Palpretto's Crown of Feathers series, so I was very excited for Bonesmith, and you kind of get me. Anything necromancy will just get me, at all. So the high hopes and the high hype I already had for Bonesmith before reading it was already there. I'm really excited to see how the rest of the series goes. If you really love Crown of Feathers and you love really interesting worlds, but also characters which will really kind of get to the grit of the things that they're struggling with, then I think you should check out Bonesmith. It doesn't have as many POVs as Crown of Feathers, so if that was something that you didn't really like in Crown of Feathers, Bonesmith definitely does not have that. I kind of really loved all the multiple POVs. It's not that I didn't like Bonesmith, I really did like Bonesmith, but I did want to mention it because that was one of the main differences I saw. This trilogy is obviously not going to be the same as Crown of Feathers, but this one has more of like a darker fantasy vibe to it, even though Crown of Feathers had a lot of war and a lot of strife and battle. But anyway, I really loved Bonesmith. In July, as I said before, I read 12 books. The first one that I really loved is Love and Resistance, which is a YA book. But I think what I really enjoyed about it is the way that the author is able to balance resistance, personally, and kind of broad resistance. So what it means as a teen to be able to say, I can make a difference, I can raise my voice, what that means to you as, in a perspective of a YA book, but also kind of personal versus large-scale resistances, I guess. That's a theme that I really love seeing YA books navigate and explore, and Love and Resistance was a fantastic one. I think I read this one way faster than I thought I would be, just because I was really excited for it. I will try to find my Instagram picture and review basically, and I will put that in the description box below. The next one has to be With Love from Cold World. This is Alicia Thompson's sophomore book. I loved Love in the Time of Serial Killers. I think that's what it's called. So With Love from Cold World was fantastic. It has that same signature character quirk. It's like when you meet a character and you kind of instantly know who they are, what they're about, what their voice is, you can hear it in your head. That's how I felt with Love from Cold World. I love the sort of juxtaposition between hot Florida and also like cold amusement park. And I really loved their interactions together. It's like a rival-ish to romance. They're not really rivals and they're not really enemies. It's kind of just like, I work with you and I don't really like you. So definitely workplace romance for sure, but it just was so fabulous. I was something where in the summer I was at a bunch of events with people who I don't normally see often, and they'll ask me for book recommendations because I am me, and this was one of the ones that was on the top of my list. The next one is A Study in Drowning, which is Ava Reed's latest book. It was so good. It is a book about ambition, abuse, love, escape. It's kind of like a book that grapples with all of those different things all at once. I love the idea of the colleges. I love how it criticizes patriarchy and sexism and all of those different things. I love how tender it is, all while being really action-packed and having like a mystery, dark vibe to it. It was just really great. I remember doing the laundry and just reading whenever I had a spare moment because I needed to find out the ending for A Study in Drowning. And the final one is To Have and to Heist. I love romance books that also do heists. This reminded me a lot of Partners in Crime by Alicia Rai, but To Have and to Heist was just really fun. It was chaotic. It was comical. It was romantic all at once. If you love a sort of romance that has heist elements but doesn't take itself too seriously, still has a lot of fun, while also providing a lot of really hilarious family and friendship moments. To Have into Heist is definitely one you should check out. I think it's more comical than Partners in Crime. The stakes are a little bit different. They're still really, really high, but I feel like Partners in Crime had a lot of history behind it, whereas To Have into Heist feels just more realistic, I guess, to what would happen if, if I was thrown into that, although I definitely wouldn't do as well as the characters in To Have into Heist. But that brings me to the end of kind of what I read and really loved in June and July. So I'm sure you're all kind of wondering, because I've talked about it in the last video and I've talked about it at the beginning of this video, what this means for the future of this channel. In the time away, I was thinking a lot about the content and what I want to do in this channel. I kind of think that I probably will not be posting any more book hauls. I said earlier today, I didn't really want to have tons and tons of stacks of books in my house, when I have filming backups. But also, I've been thinking a lot about my own consumption and purchasing of books, and a lot of these things that I'm still thinking about in my own head, and the way that social media kind of talks about that as well. So I think in the future, I'm just not really going to do book hauls. It has a lot of just, look at how shiny this book is. Let me put it down. I love watching book hauls, but me filming them, I just think that I'm not really the best person to be filming them. I really don't love editing them, just because it's just like a lot of work. I hate editing. And so I'm just not really being drawn towards that type of content. I would love to hear from everyone what kind of things they'd love to do. But in general, I'd like to be a little bit more curation in terms of what I'm putting forth in this channel. I want to be doing more of like books, about, or videos about lists, or even reviews in videos. I just am thinking about straying a little bit towards a little bit away from book hauls. I've been using that as a way to have content that I can easily kind of push out, but I feel like I'm relying too much upon it for that purpose and not seeing it either A, for what it is, or B, also appreciating its place on the channel. So I said in a video, I don't know if it was this video or the last video, but I want to be looking at the Fierce Reads Remix series. I want to try to prioritize these watch videos, so where I'll read an adaptation and then watch the adaptation and share with you my thoughts on the adaptation. I know that I've said I was going to film the Expanse one when I haven't. I really want to do that, and I feel like if I start really forcing myself to think about the curation and the really longer term projects on the channel, meaning that there'll be less videos on the channel, I will end up being more drawn to creating those kinds of pieces and not just like taking the road of kind of like, oh, I need to post a video. What can I do? Oh, I guess I'll do a book haul, right? I want it to just be things with more intention, I guess. And so that's what you'll see, hopefully, in the future. I hope to finish up reading the Fierce Reads classics soon. I hope to watch an episode of The Expanse soon. So hopefully those will be the next kinds of things you'll be seeing. You probably won't be seeing videos from me every week. That's also kind of where I'm going with this. But yeah, let me know down below if there are any things or any themes or any list kind of things you want me to talk about. I might go back and look at some of my old videos, do more recommendation videos, also do more tip videos. Just in general, I want to force myself to think a little bit more creatively and intentionally about what I put forth on this channel. So I hope to see you in the next video, whenever that is. And I hope you have a really great rest of your reading day, week, month, and rest of your year. And I'll see you in the future. Bye.